Hello Fit Fam and welcome to the FITISM Experience. So today's title is why calories are important and why I don't think you should track them. So I'm just giving you a bit of context before I dive into the topic. So the reason why calories are important is because of what we've been going over on the last few weeks. So that is, if you get your total calories below what you're consuming per day, if you can get your macros right, led by protein consumption, if you can get the quality of food right, if you can get your nutritional timing right, you will lose weight. And that is fundamentally the science behind weight loss. However, there's two extra components that we throw into this mix at FITISM, and that is adherence and the importance to follow a plan that you're truly connected with and one that's right for you. And then fun at the top, which is basically going out, enjoying yourself, socializing, eating foods that are not conducive to weight loss. Where does that all fit into the mix? Now, if we take those first 4 points, so eating fewer calories than you're, burning more calories than you're consuming, eating the correct macros led by proteins, quality and timing. Simply to do that process, you download MyFitnessPal, start tracking every single piece of food that you're eating. Make sure that you're in a calorie deficit per day. Make sure your protein levels are at the right level. Eat consistently throughout the day and you'll achieve some fantastic results. However, I would argue 80% of the people that come into FITISM, that approach is not right for them. Now that approach will get you results, yes, but will that fit into your lifestyle long term? No, and it's no for the majority of people. So this video is dedicated to 2 other approaches that might be more appropriate for people that perhaps don't want to track every single thing that they're eating and they don't want to obsess around calories and so on. Now the topic that was brought up actually by a client the other day, and she was talking about the influence that would have on her children, if she was to track her calories per day. And I agreed with her. It wasn't perhaps the right approach for a 13-year-old girl to see her mum obsessing about calories, weighing her food, tracking everything that she's eating, and that's not what she wanted to portray as a fit, healthy way of life. So instead, there's 2 possible options that you can consider. Now, option number 1. So this is a natural eating approach, and it's something that we teach to the mass majority of our clients here at FITISM, and it's based on a 6-week nutritional course. Now, phase 1 we call elimination, and elimination is simply just cutting the rubbish out of your diet. So eliminating processed foods, eliminating stimulants in the early days. We're actually trying to eliminate coffee and get your coffee down to 1 cup a day and tea down to 2 cups a day before 2 o'clock, so it doesn't influence your sleeping. And we also remove sensitive food groups, 2 sensitive food groups for 50% of people, and that is grains and gluten and dairy. Now we don't remove those completely, they come back in, but in the early days for the first 2 weeks we eliminate those 2 things. So that's elimination. It's a 2-week process, and simply you're eating from vegetables, meats, fish, poultry, nuts, seeds. It's a very sort of natural way to approach your food. So we're just eliminating a lot of the rubbish. Simply by doing that, you actually see results really quickly after 2 weeks, and then we start moving into the balance phase, which is number 2 on the natural eating approach. So the balance phase on week 3, you start introducing all your fruits back in. So all your fruit sugars go back in, and try and not eat any tropical fruit. So all English fruits come back in. Week 4, then we start introducing all your grains back in. So try and go for things like rye and oats and quinoa and those grains, and trying to avoid eating too many breads, but brown pasta is a fantastic source, rice is a fantastic source. Week 5 we then start to introduce all your dairies back in, so all your dairy products come back in. You just got to be a bit careful with that phase, because some people can get a bit mucousy, some people can kind of flare up if you have eczema and psoriasis. But we start introducing dairy back in at that stage, and then week 6 we transition into what we call life. Now, through that process, we're trying to eliminate also alcohol in the early days. I forgot to say that one. But we start introducing that back in. And in the life phase, we just rely on we follow an 80-20 rule or a 90-10 rule, in that 90% of the time you're eating really clean, you're eating well, you're eating from natural sources, and 10% of the time you're going out, you're socializing, you're drinking alcohol, you're eating things that aren't conducive to weight loss. However, it's really important to get the fun bit in the pyramid. So that is our natural eating approach. Now, a second approach you can take is option number 2, and that's an intuitive eating approach. Now, an intuitive eating approach normally follows you either following like a calorie controlled specific plan using MyFitnessPal, or you follow this plan because you're aware of what's working and what's not working. But let me just take you through sort of the science behind more of a natural eating approach. Now, natural eating approach is all about getting a balance of macros right, getting a balance of calories right, and using portion sizes as your sort of intuitive control. So first of all, we try and get the protein levels right. So in this instance, we're going to consider one protein portion to be at the palm of your hand. So the palm of your hand is the size of the protein that you're going to put on your plate. So that's the first thing we're going to look at. The second thing we're going to look at is carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are things like pastas and rices, and we're going to use one portion as a cupped hand, so a cupped handful of rice. On the vegetable front, now vegetables are carbohydrate, but we're going to use this as an extra component just to kind of get the veg in, and for one portion of veg we're going to take a fist. The size of your fist should be one portion of veg, and then your fats, one portion is a thumb size, so it's thumb size of seeds or nuts or oils, so that's kind of one portion. Now if we look at what that does, or what portions an average female should put into place, and this is it. So if a female used one portion of protein, which is the palm of your hand, they used one portion of carbohydrate, so that's a cupped handful of, say, rice, and that's cooked rice, and vegetables, they used a fist-sized portion. And then on the fats, again, they use one portion. So one portion of each one of those on their plates. So that might be some brown rice, a chicken breast, some steamed vegetables, and then maybe drizzled with olive oil or some toasted seeds on top. And that's like a one meal. Now the guys, really simply, you just double it. And I'm talking about the average size person here. So someone that's 65, 75 kilos as a female, and a male that's kind of around 85 to 95 kilos. So what does that provide? So at the end of the day, if a female was eating towards those portion sizes, if she consumed 3 to 4 meals, she'd be eating around about 1,200 to 1,500 calories every single day. If a guy was eating towards this, he'd be eating 2,300 calories per day, or 2 to 3,000. So that is our intuitive eating approach. So an intuitive eating approach is using kind of like intuitive measures like the cups of your hands and the fist for the vegetables and the palm of your hand for proteins, to actually blend or put your meals together throughout the day. So ultimately, what every single approach is trying to achieve comes back to this pyramid. So we're trying to get your calories under control, trying to get your macros under control. The quality of food should be perfect, and nutritional timing throughout the day again should be perfect. But the method that you choose for you, what's right for you, what's right for your psychological makeup, I guess. If one method, say counting calories, is going to just get you obsessed and put you in a negative state, it's not the right approach for you. Perhaps more of an intuitive eating approach or a natural eating approach is the right method. But ultimately, they're all trying to achieve the same thing, which is led by this pyramid. Okay, hope that made sense. I hope that gave you some more options. The title of this video was Calories Are Important. They're still important based on this pyramid here, but the way you approach it could differ from person to person. So choose a method to suit you. So hope you enjoyed that. Next week we're going to go into exercise and talk about the right exercise prescription for you. So last on nutrition for a while. So if you enjoyed it, please like, share, comment, that'd be much appreciated. We are also just in the process of launching our first ever 6-week challenge. I'm going to put the link in below, but it's a challenge where you get a personal trainer every single week, you get a nutrition programming based around these principles every single week. You get an accountability coach like me or one of the team calling you every week, making sure you're staying on track and keeping you stuck to your goals. So 6-week challenge, I'll link it up below. We show you 2 ways to make that challenge absolutely free. So not only do you get an insane result like drop 10 kilos of weight or drop 6% body fat, 2 ways to make it free. So click that link, and until next week, I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you then. Bye.